It all had to do with your honor and keeping your honor intact. And this was important not only to, this was important to everybody. To the Jews, to the strangers, to the ancient Near East. Everybody in that area was focused on honor. And honor is very important. And a lot of their honor code dealt with hospitality. We read the stories, for example, let's jump back to Genesis chapter 18. There's a story that demonstrates hospitality. Let's start with verse 1. It says, the Lord appeared to Abraham by the oaks of the Mamre, and he sat at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent entrance to meet them and bowed down to the ground. He said, my Lord, if I find favor with you, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Let me bring a little bread that you may refresh yourselves, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant. So they said, do as you have said. And Abraham hastened into the tent to Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of choice flour, knead it, and make cakes. Abraham ran to the herd and took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to the servant, who was hastened to prepare it. Then he took curds and milk and the calf that he had prepared and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree while they ate. This is the best example of what hospitality is all about. 3 men. 3 men Abraham had never seen before. I know the passage starts out with the Lord appeared to Abraham, but this wasn't one of those things where he said, hey, when we preach this chapter, we talk about it being 3 angels that came to visit Abraham. Did Abraham know that these men were angels? Did Abraham have any idea that these men were from God specifically? No. There's nothing in the scripture to tell us that. He sees 3 strange men he had never seen before. And he immediately ran to them. And he invited them to his house. He invited them to his family. He invited them to come and visit. This is the way of the world. Or the way the world worked back then. Or the way the world works in some countries today. This is how they meant it. If he did not approach those people, he would have brought shame upon his house. If he did not feed those people the way he did, he would have brought shame upon his house. If he did not reach out to the strangers, the foreigners, he would have brought shame. The biggest problem God had with the people of Israel is that they didn't follow these rules of hospitality. That they treated the foreigner and the stranger like they were foreigners or strangers. Like they were weirdos. My family in Tennessee, my stepmother is from Korea. She is deaf. She is mute. She is the most foreign person you could ever meet because you can't talk to her. Even if you know American Sign Language, because she speaks Korean Sign Language. They're different. And the folks in Tennessee, they're the strangest people that I'll ever meet. And they just stare because they don't have any way to relate to people. We see foreign people from other countries on the street. We see people that aren't like us on the street, and we look at them kind of funny because we don't know how to relate to them. That's the way we react to a stranger. We know how that is. Somebody walks in your room and into your. Sometimes we do it at church. Somebody walks into your church. You don't know who they are, and they look kind of funny. You don't want to talk to them. You want to put them over here. Hide here. They're over there. You want to look at them. Stare at them. Make them feel very uncomfortable. And maybe they'll leave, and I won't have to talk to them. That's how we react. But God said, offer hospitality to these people. In Jerusalem, If a Jew did that, shame. They are commanded to go out and meet them and bring them in. There are tales that people would set up their tents in the desert and they would open all four sides of it so everybody can have a chance to come in and visit and sit there and join them. And there are rules that they had to follow. There are things they had to do on both sides. The duty of the host. First of all, the duty of the host was to be cheerful during the meals. Yeah, you got a stranger. Doesn't matter what you're going through. If you showed an angry face or a sad face to these people, shame. You weren't allowed to be upset. It says it's commendable that the host himself serve at the table. Say if you had a bunch of maidservants, and you tried to pass it off to them, shame. You, as the host, were supposed to serve them. The host is warned against watching his guests too attentively. Does that make sense? You got to serve them, but you can't be like, is that good? You like it? You want more? Oh, I get you more. More? No, you're supposed to fill the customers, the customers. There's that Western thinking coming into my head. You're supposed to fill your guest's need. You're supposed to fill the stranger's need, but you can't overfill the need. It says the Jew is commanded to teach his children to be kind and courteous to strangers. What do we teach our children to do?
Don't talk to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers. I think we even put that in our head as we grow up. Yes, ma'am.
Also, what stands out to my mind is back in, I think, Exodus, where he gives the commandments. One is, I show love to strangers because you will want strangers.
Exactly. We're going to get to that. You're jumping ahead of that. If one knocks on the door inquiring after the master of the house, the son or daughter answering the knock should be not reply gruffly, but should take the stranger into the house and prepare some food for him or her. It was a custom with some in Jerusalem to place all the dishes on the table at once, so that the guest was not compelled to eat something he did not desire, but might choose anything he wishes. See, when people come into our houses, we're supposed to invite them in, feed them, take care of their needs, and then be happy in their presence. Oh my gosh, this is hard. If I'm having a bad day, I don't want to be happy in the face of a stranger. But we're commanded to do that. Or that was their custom. But guys, as the guest wasn't without his or her responsibilities either.